Hi, everyone, and welcome to Franchise Interviews, where for over 4 years we've been asking the frantrepreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show today. We're meeting with Alex Roberts, the president of ProTect Painters. And ProTect Painters is a professional painting contractor franchise specializing primarily in exterior residential painting projects. And that's coming up in segment 2 of Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Who's helping build America one small business at a time? Franchise Inc., a free consulting service.
For years, Franchise Inc., a national company, has been helping people franchise their business concept and help folks like you own a franchise.
With over 2,500 franchise systems out there, it can be awfully confusing. Don't take chances with your future. At Franchise Inc., we've done the homework for you. We can help match your interests and background with the franchise that's right for you. And we only work with proven franchise systems with a solid reputation and track record of success.
The consultants at Franchising can help you with your short and long-term wealth strategy.
Give us a call today and we'll send you free our best-selling book, Solving the Puzzle of Owning a Franchise.
Remember, it's not just owning a franchise, but finding the right one for you. Call us at 800-961-0420 for a quick consultation to discuss what's important to you, your business, and your future.
The service is free. The book is free. What do you have to lose? Find the business that's right for you.
Call Franchise Inc. at 800-961-0420. That's Franchise Inc. at 800-961-0420.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the frantrepreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And today's show is being brought to you by Franchise Times Magazine. Franchise Times is the only magazine that targets both franchisors and multi-unit franchisees, and is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise. How you doing today, Don? Welcome back.
I'm doing well today, Marty. How's your week going?
Good. It's going well. It's going by fast, Don, as always, right? It's pretty wet up here today, though. It's being this close to the Delaware River, which is always nice, but it's I tell you, on the bottom of the hill, it frequently floods.
Right.
So on days like this, that the city of Easton is usually worried, that the water's going to crest, and
right.
It's an amazing thing when you actually see it happen. It's a a little overwhelming. So yeah, it's a pretty wet day up here, So
well, it's supposed
we're indoors.
Supposed to rain a lot later on, so I have to keep an eye on that. But I'm just looking forward to the sun coming out soon, warmer weather, getting outside, springtime.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, we had a good show last week, Don. 360 Clean, right?
Right.
Here's a little information on 360 Clean, a rapidly growing specialized janitorial service firm. They're ramping up their efforts to broaden their franchise business through southeastern United States in 2011. This was an interesting opportunity. When you first talk about this industry, you say, okay, well, what makes them different? But these guys really had a niche in the market, didn't they?
That's what I liked about it. You're right. When I first heard, I'm thinking, another commercial cleaning franchise. There's so many of them. I mean, how many? How can they? What's their niche, their specialty? How are they different? How are they growing?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me, there's so many pizza franchises. You kind of wonder how they all kind of have their little difference and niche. But this was interesting because of their specialty with medical businesses that they mostly service. And that's, you got to be real detailed oriented, and that's crucial. So that's their niche, and I guess they're going well.
Yeah, here was an interesting quote from Barry. I said, Bodiford never thought of a career in athletics, could have paved the way, blah, 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 blah. Did I dream of having a janitorial service franchise as a career? He says, of course not, said Bodiford, laughing. But when I started researching business opportunities, I discovered that of the least sexy businesses are also the most profitable, and that interested me. It's a great business model. It's, what I like about it is, of course, it's not very expensive to get into. Is it?
Right.
And there's two different types of opportunities. You can just buy the franchise, or you can buy into the area developer concept and kind of like build that particular area, So you do have a choice about that. And, it does. It makes it interesting because we have a lot of our listeners, they say, they're looking for something like maybe $50,000 to get into, and a lot of the opportunities that we do have on the show, great franchise opportunities, but sometimes financially, they just don't make it, because it's kind of up there.
Right.
So I think this is a great opportunity for young, for old, whoever it may be. But there's a wide range of frantrepreneurs, I think, that might be interested in looking into this particular franchise concept. If you missed the show, definitely go back and listen to it again because you might be surprised. I know I was surprised. I think you were surprised when listening to their franchise opportunity. So kind of neat.
And, always, I guess, when you look at a business, I guess, the simpler, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Something not a whole lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in just keeping things simple. And, when you think about it, it's, you're cleaning, medical practices.
Right.
And, but there's a lot of specifics that go into it, but,
right.
What is your job as a franchisee? You're out there trying to get clients. You want to clean and maintain. You just have to maintain your staff. It seems like it's a pretty simple business model.
It does, and that's, Don, those make the best franchises. I'm going to have to put you in great quotes in franchising because, if you think of the great concepts, they are pretty simple. Your Subways, think about if you've ever been into a Subway. It's not rocket science, really, if you think about it. And it's advanced over time, of course, like McDonald's has advanced over time. But, yeah, it's simple, It's a simple, fairly simple concept, and if you follow the system that they've created, you can do very well, So, so I like this one. I think we'll keep our eye on them and, invite them back in 2012 and see how they're doing, So,
the new Franchise Times magazine came out, Marty, so I just got that yesterday.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Had it on the kitchen table at dinner a little bit, tried to sneak a little story in there, got caught again.
I was picturing you doing that, yeah.
Yeah, just kids get mad, the family get mad. I had to wait till later on after they're in bed to kind of look through it, so I'm sure we'll have our friends from there back on tell us about
Yeah, we got to get Mary Jo or Nancy back on the show. You know, I'm going to have to give them a buzz this week, you know, and get them back on the show because they're always so fun to have on the show, you know. And it's as we say all the time, it's a magazine that you really can go from cover to cover, can't you?
Right.
You know, I know we can. You know, they do such a great job at it. So.
And I haven't read the story, but the cover was a guy who sold his 4 McDonald's franchises and then invested in a smaller hamburger chain called Smashburger.
Wow.
Seemed like it was pretty risky. We'll have to hear about that story. And you know, I mean, everything has risk. You know, starting up a 360 Clean. Today we're having ProTect painters on. Painting franchise. I guess anything you do, there's always going to be risk involved. I guess you got to always assess your own risk. But sometimes your most successful business people are people who decide to take on some risk because they have that gut feeling.
And that too, Don. Yeah, I bet you like there's some people out there that feed upon that. You know, I mean, a lot of times we talk about the frantrepreneur, and I think there's different levels of the frantrepreneur. You know, there's ones that have that a little more entrepreneurial in nature than maybe some other people, you know what I mean? And they like to get into that type of system. That franchise that you mentioned, I've never even heard of him, you know? So here he is. He owns 4 McDonald's franchises, you know, the number one system in the world, and he decides to sell it and go into something different. And, you know, you ask yourself why. Well, he probably feeds upon that, too. It's something new. It's something different. It's probably exciting for him. You know
you only live once, I guess. People want the challenge. I guess you want to help people. You want to have fun at what you're doing. I guess that's part of business. You want to enjoy what you're doing. And the most successful people, what have they always have said? You know, they have the passion for it and the excitement. I guess it's an important component of business ownership.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's interesting. We'll have to get that gentleman on the show. So, and I know today we have an interesting show too, don't we?
Alex Roberts, president of ProTect Painters. Painting contractor franchise. They're part of Service Brands International, pretty well-known company that has other brands like Molly Maid, Mr. Handyman, 1-800 Dry Clean. So they're under the umbrella of Service Brands. And, you know, we've all done painting in our days. And, you know, you know, we just had some work, you know, at our house in the past year, and it's always a big decision. Do we do it ourselves or do we have a professional do it?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's I remember when we had our place painted, Don. This is a horror story. I'll tell you the 30-second version of the story. But the company that we hired, non-franchise, and hopefully the guy's not listening to the show because he's going to kill me. He was here for literally 30 days. I couldn't get him out of the house. You know, we hired him to paint the whole house, and this is when Connie was pregnant, so she couldn't be in the house, you know, with the paint fumes. So she was at her parents' house for a month, no exaggeration, 30 days to the date he started. He'd come in, he'd get here about 10 o'clock, and then he'd leave at 3, you know, so he was only here. And I said, you know, we don't have a big place. I mean, it shouldn't have taken a whole month. He didn't have a crew or anything. Half the time I was helping him, you know, bring the ladder up and the paint, and I just wanted to get him out of the house. You know, why didn't I go, you know, the franchise route and hire somebody credible? I was probably being a cheapskate, I guess, or who knows what I was thinking at that time, you know. But it's what a nightmare that was, you know. So there's certainly a lot of credibility to going with the franchise. Here's another 30-second story, Don. I don't know if I told you this one. There was a story on the Today Show. It was about 2 weeks ago. People booking hotels through the internet, and we booked a hotel in Ocean City, New Jersey. And we went on the website. I mean, it looked amazing, like a great place. It was right on the beach. And we got there with my mom and dad, my son, you know, my wife, and the place was like something out of hell. I mean, it scared the hell out of you when you saw it. And you know, it taught me a lesson. Is the whole everything that we do, the whole franchise concept. You know, why didn't we go with a well-known brand? You know, once again, I didn't go with a famous brand name, and here I am. I've been involved in franchising 10 years, and I didn't go with a franchise. You know, and it turned out to be a disaster. We drove all the way back home. You know, I mean, it was just
your family doesn't let you make any decisions from now on, right?
Exactly. That's done, you know. But it was funny how they ran the story on the not my personal story, but this type of story on the Today Show that I guess, you know, hundreds of people go through this situation, and you know, they mentioned franchising is go with a credible name, you know, whether it's a Hyatt or a Marriott, and we've had hotel franchises on our show as well over the years too, you know. So a lot of benefits to franchising, yeah. So, you know, looking forward to having Alex on the show today. I think he has a background, by the way, in hockey too. I'm gonna have to ask him about that. I don't know if he played professionally, or want to talk to him about that as well. So, yeah, and I know you had an interesting story that we had to go over today as well that we probably wanted to get to last week, and we never have enough time.
Hey, right. This is through Smart Money by Katie Hill, Franchises for Boomers, What You Need to Know. About 20 years ago, Marie and Jerry Romansky toyed with the idea of opening a franchise but couldn't find a well-managed company they can afford. Now in their early 60s, the couple has more money in the bank, a stronger desire to own a business, and as of a few months ago, a new Batteries Plus franchise to call their own. As more baby boomers look for ways to strike out on their own or supplement income in retirement, a surprising number are turning to franchises. At the West Coast Expo this recent November, 27% of attendees were 51 or older, up from 22.5% in 2008.
Wow.
At a different event, they talked about another event on the East Coast in April. The percentage of 50-plus attendees jumped from 21.5% to 24%.
Wow.
Says the show director for MFV Expositions, Jim Mastandrea. And they're not just browsing. Last year, Decorating Den, an interior design franchise, said the percentage of franchise owners who were over 50 hit 35%, up from 32% in 2009. At Caring Transitions, an estate sale and moving firm, about 35% of current franchise owners are between 55 and 60. And in 2010, a sample of Great Clips Hair Salon showed that its franchise owners over 50 had increased more than 15% in the last year. The boom in franchise ownership dovetails with other employment trends for baby boomers. They're working longer either because they want to or have to, and many want out of the traditional workforce or haven't been able to stay in it due to recent downsizing, says Rob Bond, president of World Franchising Network. Older Americans are also more qualified to own franchises. They're wealthier, have better credit. People ages 50 to 59 had an average credit score 43 points higher than people in their 30s, according to Experian. And they want and they want to employ their kids or pass the business along to them. And franchises, which are like a business in a box, can often appear less risky from scratch sole proprietorship. Less risky than
It is. I mean, I love that story. I mean, it's an interesting trend that's going on in the U.S., you know, something exciting, Don. And like you said, you know, they make more qualified franchises. You wonder if they make, and I hate to use the word better, franchisees, but, you know, do they take it more serious? Is there something different about them? You know, are they able to follow the system better than perhaps maybe somebody who's a little younger? You know, it's always interesting questions that pop into my head, you know, as you're going over stories like this. But I mean, think of it this way, you know, of leaving a business, you know, because you think about your kids, don't you? You know, like when you leave this world, you know, or something you can pass on to your son or your daughter, you know, and I think that way now, you know, and I said, God, if, you know, you take the business and you pass it on to your son if they want to go into it, you know, but what great training for your kids. You know, not just about, you know, making subs or anything like that, or pizza, whatever it may be, but just learning about a whole business system, you know, from the accounting end of it to the sales end of it. What an amazing type of training. That's a college training right there, real-life training. And, wow, it's great lessons. I like that. It's a great article.
Yeah, going on, it says, in fact, many experts say franchises are less risky, whereas about 30% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. I've heard that number could be much higher. According to the SBA, franchises are slightly less likely to do so, industry experts say. They come with an established brand name, a pre-designed business structure and strategy, as well as support from the franchisor. The corporate structure and franchisee support were among the benefits for the Batteries Plus endeavor. But in spite of the predetermined business model and structure, there's nothing easy about owning a franchise. This is what we've always gone over. Just like starting a business from scratch, it takes a ton of energy. Long hour days are common. Soliciting new clients can require a lot of running around. So, nothing's ever easy, but you do have a higher chance of being successful. There are already more than 800,000 franchises operating in the U.S., so competition's stiff. Let me see. But interested owners should go further, says business strategist Carol Roth, author of The Entrepreneur Equation. Check the franchise's reputation with the Better Business Bureau. Interview other franchisees about how much they earn. Since most franchises do not publicly disclose this, the franchise should be able to give you the contact information of a few owners, she says. Make sure it lines up with the goals, like leaving the business to an heir. Some companies do not let franchisees pass the company on to a family member or have job flexibility. So you've got to make sure you look into all of that as you're investing in a franchise. And it goes on to a couple industries. Caring for the sick. As part of one of the fastest-growing industries in the country, a home health care business may be appealing to the 10% of baby boomers who say it's very important to leave a business to their children, according. Also, older Americans may have experience caring for their own aging parents, making them sensitive to clients' needs. Bright Star Care, an in-home health franchise, is one of the few to provide a detailed financial data on its franchisees. So that's why that franchise is doing well. I guess they have an Item 19 as part of the franchise disclosure document. They're showing what their franchisees are making, and once you have an idea of how franchisees are doing, I guess there's a much higher chance you're going to invest in that franchise. After years in corporate America, a franchise that offers executive and management training may look attractive. For example, franchisees of Sandler Training, one of the Wall Street Journal's top 25 high-performing franchises, provide sales and management training to employees at local businesses. Before they get started, Sandler headquarters provides training structure and lead generation, but it also costs $68,000 in startup costs, which is fair considering it includes the franchise fee, lead generation, and training. And you'll need 6 to 9 months of living expenses to get through the startup phase. Says Ron Taylor, the company's head of franchise development. Person with lots of business contacts and a good business sense could go it alone. Other teaching opportunities include tutoring franchises like Sylvan Learning, Tutor Doctors. These franchises tend to offer a relaxed work atmosphere and little manual labor. Here's one, the last part of this, Marty says, work in your PJs. The options for work-from-home franchises vary widely, but a babysitting franchise like seeking sitters to a local advertising sales company like Valpak. Franchise owners for Valpak, one of the best mid-sized franchise opportunities according to an industry survey of franchisees, sell ads to local businesses, and the parent company handles the production and mailing of ads. But even though you won't have to go into a store or office for many of these options, they often require some face-to-face sales, which can take a lot of energy. These kinds of non-essential services tend to get hit hard during recessionary times. Bottom line is, there's going to be no perfect business, but you have to decide what you're going to be most comfortable in doing in owning a franchise.
No shortcuts. Yeah, there is. There's no shortcuts. As long as you and I have been doing this and studying it almost like scholars, there are no shortcuts. It's going to be hard work no matter what type of franchise you get into. And I don't want to say I feel bad for the prospective franchisees today, Don, but there's just so many choices out there today, isn't there? It's I don't know where I'd begin. Even as long as we've been doing this, if you and I had to say, okay, we're going to buy our own franchise, my God, it's a lot of work. It would take 6 months, 12 months. I don't know how long it would take till you finally came to a decision on which one you're going to go with. I think when we had Fran Data, on the show, I think it was Mira, I think she mentioned that there was almost like, 3,000 systems, or is it over 3,000 different franchise systems to choose from in the States? I mean, it's really amazing, isn't it? So it's a little overwhelming, But this is a great article because it gets into, all the important topics that we talk about. Is the support you get with the franchise, sharing of best practices, and what do you want the franchise to do for you?
Just seeing older first-time business owners was an interesting part of the article too.
Yeah, that's a fantastic article. I'm very interested in exploring that a little further. So, yeah, great job, Don. And why don't we do this? I see our guest Alex is called in. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up in segment 2, we're meeting with Alex Roberts, the president of ProTect Painters. And ProTect Painters is a professional painting contractor franchise specializing primarily in exterior residential painting projects. And that's coming up on segment 2 of Franchise Interviews.
Big Mouth!
Okay, you've got my attention.
It's a rare event in the world of franchising when an opportunity comes your way that can and will thrive in almost any economic environment. It's here, and its name is Big Mouth Advertising.
Big Mouth.
BMA is a leader in the exciting world of mobile media advertising. Why is mobile media advertising able to defy the economic cycles? The answer is obvious. In times of economic weakness, advertising is crucial for survival as the consumer dollar is scarce and the competition fierce. What is mobile media? It's the newest and fastest growing segment in the advertising world. Mobile media brings the message directly to the consumer. Mobile media goes to the consumer in traffic where he eats and where he plays. It quite simply cannot be turned off or thrown out. And when you join the Big Mouth team as a franchisee, you are joining the best. The Big Mouth advantage is simple and successful. We invest in a strong infrastructure and in great people. As a franchisee, you have access to this entire system, including telemarketing, sales maximization, general and administrative support, design and creative services, even billing and collection services. All you need is a mobile media vehicle, a driver, and the willingness to create a financially sound and limitless business for yourself. There are no long-term leases to sign, no expensive build-outs, no office personnel to hire. You will be part of the Big Mouth advertising community and share its entire website and reception services, as well as its complete back-office services. This virtual office guarantees you the freedom to close those sales that will make you a success. We are so proud of our successes that we have voluntarily disclosed our revenue statements. Now, how many other franchises are doing that? Even in these historically rough financial times, Big Mouth Advertising has become a dominant force in the mobile media industry. Join the Big Mouth team and take the first step toward financial freedom. Please call Ron at 888-98-GO-BIG. That's 888-98-GO-BIG. Big Mouth! Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the frantrepreneurs who want one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And as we were saying earlier, Don, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Alex Roberts, the president of ProTect Painters. And ProTect Painters is a professional painting contractor franchise specializing primarily in exterior residential painting projects. Hey, Alex, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure, Alex. Alex, joining us is my co-host, Don Johnson, and I know, Don, you wanted to say good morning to Alex.
We appreciate you coming on today, Alex. Look forward to hearing all about your franchise and how you're going to take over the country soon.
All right, wonderful. Thanks for having me, Don. Yep.
Great.
It's our pleasure, Alex. Alex, we would like to ask where you're calling from this morning to get an idea of what the weather is down there.
Well, I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is the Midwest here, and we're getting some rain right now. It's melting all the snow that we've had. This has been, I think, like the fifth most snow in history in Ann Arbor. So it's been a lot of shoveling this year.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, it's just been the same story here, Alex. Yeah, lots of rain, lots of snow. So it's similar climate. Alex, what were you doing before joining ProTect Painters?
Yeah, my background's a little different than a typical entrepreneur or franchisor. So I'll give you the abbreviated Reader's Digest version here. But before I got involved in franchising here with Service Brands, which was 7 years ago, but I had played college hockey at the University of Michigan and then was drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks and signed with them out of college and ended up playing 3 years of minor league hockey. Unfortunately, I never cracked the big leagues, but had fun while I was young and single and irresponsible, but didn't want to be a career minor leaguer. But anyway, after 3 years of playing, I actually got into coaching and spent another 12 years coaching hockey with the Chicago Wolves in the American Hockey League, and then the USA National Under-18 team was what brought me back to Ann Arbor about 13 years ago. And so I was coaching the top high school age players in the country. We would go into these homes of 15-year-old kids, sit down with their mom and dad, and talk to them about what it would, the opportunity that would be available for them if they came to Ann Arbor and lived with a host family and went to high school here and trained with the national team, that they'd have an opportunity to get drafted in the National Hockey League and get a college scholarship and develop into the elite hockey players. And so I did that for 4 years with Team USA, and then spent another 3 coaching a junior team in the Ontario Hockey League. Before what happened there is I had children. I was on the road a ton. I was probably 145 nights a year in a hotel room with all the travel and evenings and weekends and holidays and all those things that go along with coaching. And so I made a decision. I wanted to get out of the coaching world and get into the business world, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But through some friends and networking, and a good friend of mine, his name is John Rocci, and he's the president of a franchise company called the Belfour Franchise Group, which has Ducks and Hoods under their umbrella. But anyway, John said, hey, why don't you come into Service Brands? At the time, Ducks was a part of our Service Brands umbrella, and you can meet some folks. And long story short, as I explained what I did, Todd Recknagel, the president of Mr. Handyman, said, what you did on the recruiting trail of, in junior hockey and with Team USA is exactly what we do on the development side. We go in and we look at aspiring, entrepreneurs and business owners, and we need to go through a long due diligence process to educate them on the opportunity that we can provide, to see if it's a good fit for them, for us, and then you make an educated decision at the end of that process. And so he was the one who really saw that connection, hired me to be a franchise development manager for Mr. Handyman 7 years ago, and so I did that for 4 years with Mr. Handyman, and then I took over our development department for all the Service Brands companies over the last 3 years, and then just a couple of months ago took over as the president of ProTect Painters. So that's my history in a nutshell.
Wow.
And tell us about ProTect Painters, Alex. When did that get started? And maybe talk about a little bit of the history.
Yeah, well, ProTect actually, with Service Brands, we acquired them in mid-2009. So we've really had it for about 18 months as a franchise company. However, if ProTect has a long history. It was founded back in 1994 by Wayne Scherger, who is still with us as our founder. And Wayne has a long history in painting. He was a college pro franchisee when he was a young guy out of college, and was working, like many college students do in the summertime, make a few bucks running a painting company. And then when he got done with his schooling, he stayed on with College Pro and became a recruiter, and was building models and in that across the country. And then Wayne was part of the concept development team for our main competitor, which is Scherger Pro Painters. But Wayne was part of the group that helped develop the first year-round national painting franchise back in the early 90s. And after a couple of years with that venture, Wayne left and went off on his own and started ProTect Painters. And over the years, Wayne, had a small franchise company. He's got 8 franchisees in his system. And at Service Brands, we have Molly Maid, Mr. Handyman, and 1-800 Dry Cleaner, or other brands. Mm-hmm. But we were looking to add another concept to our portfolio, and we went out and started looking at different industries, service industries that were untapped and underdeveloped, and had lots of room for a professional company to come in and grab market share. And the painting industry for us was a no-brainer after doing our research and due diligence. And we just wanted to know which company to partner with. So we went through 4 or 5 of the smaller painting franchise companies, and we're very excited about Wayne's model and Wayne's experience. And we've got the professional franchising resources here at Service Brands as it relates to everything from training and operations and IT and software and mapping and demographics and legal and accounting and finance and all the back office things. But we didn't know how to run a painting business, and Wayne did. So we partnered with him, and we launched here the end of 2009, and we've added 21 franchises in the last 18 months, and are on our way.
Wow. And when an investor, Alex, is looking at different franchises, or even maybe in the painting industry, why, and probably the similar reasons why you ended up choosing them to be in, within the family of brands, but what are some of the main selling points to ProTect Painters? Why would an investor want to invest in this one?
Yeah, well, a couple of things, Don. It's painting, just like the maid industry and the handyman service. These are industries that aren't going away. They're not going to be replaced by technology. They're not going to be outsourced to India. People are going to continue to need painting services. Businesses are going to need painting services forever. I mean, we always joke. I mean, painting goes back to the days that cavemen were, painting on the sides of their walls and in their caves, using things to paint their caves. So it's been around a long time. It's not going anywhere. Yeah. Huge industry. We focus on residential and light commercial, which is about $40 billion annually. So a huge market. I mean, the overall painting industry is over $100 billion, but we don't get into high rises and some of the large commercial things. So a very large industry. And the big thing here, what differentiates say a ProTect Painters from what we refer to as Bob and his bucket, the independent guys, is the overall professionalism. And our consumers today, we know not every homeowner is going to be our customer, but the ones that value their time and their homes are their biggest investments, and they want to protect those homes. And so when somebody calls a service provider, the last thing they want is a voicemail or a disconnected number or an answering service that can't get to the actual business owner. So we've developed a professional program that every phone call is answered by a call center with a live voice and a script that's able to book that estimate and provide for the franchisee. And then when that franchisee shows up for that appointment, they're wearing a branded uniform, golf shirt and slacks. They look professional. They're not in painter's whites with paint all over them. They're driving a branded vehicle, very professional, look at branded vehicle. And we're bonded, insured, licensed, all the things that a homeowner wants to know. If somebody's getting up on a ladder in their home, they want to know they're protected, and provide warranties on the work. So it's providing value to the customer, providing a professional experience that differentiates us from the independents, which is really what dominates the I don't know if I want to use the word dominate, but the industry is littered with the small independents. But most people typically have an experience that hasn't been very smooth when it comes to dealing with painting contractors.
Yeah, I was telling a story, Alex, in segment one. I mean, it really became a night where we hired a small independent, and I couldn't get rid of the guy. I mean, he was here for 30 days, and everything you were saying was just, as far as just showing up. I mean, having a hole in his shirt, and just I can go on and on. But next time around, going forward, I would definitely use a service like ProTect Painters. It was a horror story. So there's so many benefits of using a company, like yours. It seems like Service Brands International too. It was a nice fit for you guys as well. Because I imagine there's a lot of cross marketing there and things like that.
There is. We've got multiple brands with very similar services. We're in people's homes, so to have franchisees across our brands work together in regards to leave behind marketing, if they're cleaning their home on the maid service and they'll leave a piece with the homeowner on introducing our new franchise, ProTect Painters, that type of stuff is great. Marketing to their databases are wonderful. But the one thing I did want to clarify with our model as well in terms of why somebody would want to get involved with it, I want to make sure everybody knows it's an executive business model. You're not painting. You're not the guy on the ladder with the brush. You're running a business, and so you're building your financial model, your business plan, your marketing plan. You're the one that's out there executing and implementing, the marketing and paying attention to the bottom line of the numbers. But, the one thing the owner does is go into the owner's homes and do the estimating. And that's where we train our franchisees on that portion. But I did want to make that clear. So if anybody's listening and they're not interested in painting, that's perfect, because we don't want people that want to paint.
Yeah, it's a good point. You're managing people. It's like, many service businesses, you're a franchisee. You're not going to be doing the work yourself. You want to learn it and know how to do it, but you have employees to do that. So you want to be concentrating on building sales and that client relationship and getting repeat business and growing your business. That's a good point, Alex.
Absolutely. And then just the other point, too, and what differentiates our business from a lot of other service industries, including Molly Maid and Mr. Handyman here, is that with ProTect Painters, we don't use direct employees. So you're not having a payroll to meet. You don't have to find work to keep our guys busy all the time. We use subcontractors. So, it's a 1099 subcontractor rather than a W-2 employee, which is your biggest expense in any service industry is going to be your labor. And so when you keep that cost variable, it keeps your profitability where it needs to be. So, each job that you produce or that you land, you then hire a subcontractor crew that's going to do the work for the percentage that you need to keep it in line with. And so we've got great relationships with the Sherwin-Williams paint stores around the country, where we have discounted volume pricing for our products, but more importantly, they're one of our best resources for introducing us to the best crews in their area. Who drives the cleanest trucks? Who wears the cleanest uniforms? Who are the guys that are professional and that? And so each of our franchisees is able to go into their market and immediately have a laundry list of 8 to 10 crews that they can go out and interview and check the resources and look at their work. And and unfortunately, as we all know, the construction industry has slowed down tremendously in the last few years, but there are a lot of painters and other tradesmen that are looking for work. And so the easy thing right now is that there are no shortage of strong professional painting crews out there to hire to go out and do our work.
That's a good point with real estate being rougher. I guess more people are staying in their homes. They can't sell it or whatever. So maybe there's more residential business and maybe not as much commercial. But that's probably the toughest part for a franchisee, trying to find a reliable core of contractor painters that can be reliable, because in a service business, so I guess that sometimes that's a little trial and error, but that Sherwin-Williams relationship, I see where that can be key, because, you want to make sure you have the best experienced people representing your company to do the job.
Right. Yeah, we go through an extensive training program with our owners on how to go out and recruit and identify and what skill sets and traits you're looking for, and also our crews need to be bonded and insured, and that's one of the biggest things right there that eliminates the misfits, because if the crew is not willing to carry applicable insurance and then they're not going to be the professional one that you want, in your home. They're required to have, crews that have that coverage. So, that's one of the big pieces that eliminates it. But then, you mentioned it. Trial and error is absolutely, an area where you go out and do a job with somebody, and if they don't, meet your expectations as you've laid them out for them before, and they don't deliver on it, then you don't use that crew again. And the beautiful thing about our model is that we can feed these guys a lot of work throughout the year, put a lot of bread on their table for their families, and that's where, we're able to say, hey, I'm not just hiring you for one job here. I'm going to have a consistent book of business throughout the year, and, I'm going to juggle between multiple crews, but, if you're able to do and deliver, these expectations, then, I'm going to be able to feed you a job next week and the week after and the week after, to keep them going.
That's what people refer to us, Alex. When Marty and I first started doing the show, we were kind of known as the misfits. We first started this radio show. So we've grown out of that, right, Marty?
I think so. I hope so. What's been the most interesting thing that's happened to you, Alex, since working with ProTect painters? Anything stand out?
Well, I've been with ProTect just about 2 months now as the president, and the I guess the most interesting thing, is the fact that I was put into this position December 1st, which was right at the time when we were doing our budgeting and strategic planning for 2011, and we had our national convention January 24th with all our franchise owners together, and so I was kind of put into this spot right at a key time of strategy planning and budgeting and preparation for what really is the highlight of our year with our franchisees is that national convention. So my head was spinning for a couple of months as I got out and met with all of our franchisees and took some inventory and all that. But I had spent 7 years in development on the sales side, and a lot of things when you're on the sales side, you take a lot of things for granted when it comes to operations and marketing and training and support and that. And so now, I'm involved in leading the charge in all of those areas. So the education that I've gotten here in the last 2-3 months on the overall franchise world has been tremendous for me. So it's like drinking from a fire hose, to use that analogy. But it's been a very interesting couple of months here to take on this new role and to help really lead our organization here to some great heights. But I don't have any real fun, interesting stories that come to mind off the top of my head. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting story, probably to Don and myself, though, Alex. I mean, if you think about it, going back to your hockey days, and if you said, this is what you'd be doing, in the future, you might have said to us, you're crazy,
Yeah.
So I find this story fascinating, is how, where you were and where you are today. I think it's a wonderful story to us, so
thanks.
Absolutely.
The whole thing was I knew I wanted to get into something different, to get into the corporate world, and at the time, coaching youth hockey is a lot like teaching. It's very rewarding, but you don't make a whole lot of money doing it. And
True.
I wasn't willing to pick up and relocate my family and chase a job here and there every 2 years and climb a ladder. And so when I came out, I wasn't in a position financially to look at being an entrepreneur or starting a business, and then I never even crossed my mind. And I got into franchising as a development person and was part of a very great growth period with Mr. Handyman, and saw a lot of the advantages of franchising. And I go to a ton of franchise shows throughout the year, and I've always got my eye open for that different business model that isn't it yet in Ann Arbor, Michigan, that may be one that I could open myself here one day, and be my my own entrepreneur type of thing. But it's I've introduced a lot of people to franchising that have been in that position that need to take control of their lives after being outplaced or downsized and things like that. And it's just such a wonderful industry and so many opportunities. And I've been on the franchisor side here for 7 years, but I know I'll find myself on the franchisee side at some point as well.
That's fantastic. Alex, we have to take a quick break. Are you able to stick around for another segment?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com. Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the frantrepreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show today. We're meeting with Alex Roberts, the president of ProTect Painters. And ProTect Painters is a professional painting contractor franchise specializing primarily in exterior residential painting projects. And Don, I think you're up.
Yeah, Alex, during the break there, I just did a little research. You still hold the Michigan state record for time spent in the penalty box with your hockey background?
Yeah, but it's Michigan, not Michigan State. So,
okay.
I got, but anyway, yeah, that was my only claim to fame. I wasn't going to get my name in the record books by scoring goals, so I had to rough it up a little bit and get a few penalty minutes.
So what type of what type of franchisee are you really looking for now? I mean, you want the guy who's been a business owner, or has sales experience, or just someone who can follow the system. So someone who's very passionate about owning a franchise.
Right, that's a great question, and certainly that is something we've learned a lot over the last 18 months as we've launched this business and seen what owners have had an easier transition and initial success, and what owners have had challenges in that. And so, in the painting industry, we certainly look for a couple of key attributes. And number one is leadership ability. When you're running a business, you need to be able to keep things prioritized, but also lead your painting crews and get them to get out and deliver what your expectations are for the consumer. You need to be able to get out and interact with the customers in their homes and ask for the business and do the sales piece of it. But having that internal leadership ability is one key trait that we look for. The second one, as you mentioned too, is that personal energy and tenacity that, to be successful in any franchise, I don't care what it is, whether you're pouring ice cream or taking care of the seniors or or painting, you need to be out there and putting your personal energy into this business. In particular, that first couple of years, as we all know affectionately called the grind stage, as you're out there building that business, you've got to put that personal energy into it. Your marketing is going to do a lot for you in regards to your direct mail and marriage mail and the internet presence and things like that. But it's in our business in particular, the owners that get out and network, get involved in their local community, their local chamber of commerce, business networking groups, meet with local realtors, decorator companies, any business you go by, you want to stop in and shake hands and pass out your literature and build those referrals, putting out yard signs in front of jobs that you're working on, and hitting the 3 houses to the left and 3 to the right and 7 across the street with a door hanger while you're producing at a job. Referrals are huge. So leadership, tenacity are 2 key things. Then effective communication skills. Somebody that, again, this is as you mentioned earlier, it's a relationship business. So whether it's your customer relationships, your crew relationships, your vendor relationships, the people that have those strong communication skills are ones that have an easy adaptation to our model. And then the final, real key trait we look for, people that are able to be introspective and look at themselves in the mirror and know that they're following that model and that system, and that they're executing the business model as they were trained, that they're investing the dollars and the resources into their marketing and the efforts to drive and grow that business. So, that's the ideal franchisee for ProTect Painters is the best I can describe it. Really covering the basics is essential, and the basics are little things like doing door hangers and going out and meeting with people and joining groups and all the essentials, the basics, I guess I'll call it. But very important that it all adds up. You never know where your business is going to come from. Yeah, and we do have great stories, from just one. I was talking with a franchisee yesterday down in Florida. He's in a condo association is where he lives, and there was a posting in the elevator for the condo association board of directors meeting, and he actually thought it was open to the public, but it was just the board of directors. So anyway, he showed up at the meeting, and they said, well, who are you? And he said, I live in over here, and I thought this was a thing. They said, no, it's just the board, and they he's mentioned that he had his painting shirt on, and they said, what do you do? And he got into describing what his business was, and a week later he was outbidding their painting all of their vestibules and the sidewalks and stairways, and he landed a $25,000 job from stumbling in on a meeting. And they manage multiple properties throughout the area, and he's already bidding on another project that's going to potentially be another $100,000 light commercial job at painting the exterior condos of 70 units. And so anyway, things like that, taking advantage of those opportunities are wonderful. And as you mentioned, you never know where it's going to come from, but you've got to, That's a good strategy. Go to meetings that you're not invited to. Who knows what?
That works. Alex, we have about 60 seconds. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee? Are there any websites they can go to? Any numbers they can call?
Yeah, www.protectpaintersfranchise.com is our franchise development website. www.protectpainters.com is our consumer website if you want to learn more about having your home painted in our area. Wonderful websites, and if you want more information, submit an application, and we'll get back to you right away.
That's great. I want to thank you again, Alex. You've been a fantastic guest. Don and I would love to have you back in the near future as well.
All right. Thanks, Marty. Thanks, Don. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. Great job.
Great show, huh, Don?
Yep, it always is.
Seems like a perfect match, and it's funny, I remember when we had Surface Brands on our show, oh, God, I want to say it was 4 years ago. It was over 4 years ago, and I know that they were kind of looking for this type of franchise. It just seems like almost a perfect fit for the Surface Brands franchise concepts, so... well,
it's interesting, his background recruiting young hockey players, and then he went into recruiting franchise owners.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is. I think it's a great entrepreneurial story. It's
right.
I just thought it was fascinating. So good job on segment 1 today, Don, and thanks for all our listeners in the chat room today and who called in, and we had a bunch of people in the chat room today, Don. So
good.
Again, I want to thank all of them for listening to the show and and making the show such a success. So, and for our listeners, go to franchiseinterviews.com, franchisefunding.net, gofranchise.com, Franchise World Radio. I forgot to mention that one again, didn't I, Don?
We'll talk about it more next week, yeah.
Okay. All right. So good job, Don, and I'll see you next week.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Springtime, finally here, and we've all been waiting to enjoy the great outdoors and attend more events, right? But let's not forget, safety comes first. COVID-19, it's still around, and it's not going away anytime soon. Finding test kits can be tough, but don't worry. The Bethlehem Health Bureau is still offering free COVID-19 test kits. Stay safe and prepared by visiting bethlehem-pa.gov for a list of locations where you can pick up your free kit. Remember, we're in this together. Let's stay healthy. Visit bethlehem-pa.gov today.
At Medtronic, we know your life is made of a million moments. Moments of delight. Moments of relief. Our health tech makes more moments possible. What's next? You'll be amazed.